10 before Guild have a response. But it is that duo of Leo and Trex. Fast on the retake, finding their form.
Astaga, live-nya nggak aku pencet.
And also Safe doing a great job early in the round too.
Astaga, live-nya nggak aku pencet, cuy. Sorry ya. Nggak kepencet
itu tadi ya.
Go live-nya nggak aku pencet. Ya udahlah ya.
This kill in
ya, manusia biasa, cuy.
Reacting to Mind Freak pushing the smoke could have got very dangerous.
It's so hard as well. He's under an immense amount of pressure with a horde coming over the top as well. All the utility to try and clear him out of his angles. Yeah, he dies at the end, but the fact that he even gets the one there is quite astounding.
He's been the only player actually able to do too much when these hits have been coming through. I think part of the reason is that he has the ability to reposition so well, just by virtue of the agent he's playing. Can Guild recover the half? 4 would be the bare minimum to have any sort of comeback.
Permanent smoke popped off here. Safe is in a deeper angle. Look at that. Trademark was actually placed deep into mid there by Forsaken to try and clear out of the smoke. That was inside of it. It's got to be respected as well. As soon as the null command is popped off. It's the Vi's side. Russ also going to be answering with one of his own. So, suppression across the board. No ability is really going to be used by either side. What is
and here's the lurk. Here's the lurk. They've managed to get into the B site because the chamber trademark was turned off from Safe.
And Russ, what perfect, impeccable timing for him to take that fight into mid. 2 kills going to be claimed. He's helped out his team, but are they ready once more? Forsaken. He's taken all that space in the chaos of the situation, but now he needs a lockdown market. The spam is there.
Sayang banget.
Up to
Yuk, Bengkai.
It is all over the place, of course. The spike was dropped down, and that space is controlled.
Bengkai. Udah 2 lawan 1 nih. Udah ditunggu di sini. Nah, ini.
He's going to get his horn back in a couple of seconds. But Leon Coldamenta should be good for this one. Playing together, they now know the position.
Very difficult task for Benkai. The haunt shot by both the players who got noted there. Around the side, the Prowler to guide him. Not enough. Leo will easily manage that threat.
Fantastic round by both teams there, though. PRX using their KO ultimate, not for a sight hit necessarily, but to go on a 4-1 split. 4 players pushing towards Catwalk, and as Safe got suppressed, his trademark stops being active over a B, and Forsaken takes that area of the map for them to rotate back to B. It's a bit of a, it's a 2-pronged attack. Either they get through Catwalk or they can return back to B. But I really appreciate the way that Coldamenta and Leo dealt with it. Reading the play, rotating back, and Russ did well in mid.
Absolutely. Hot flash over the top. It looks like an aggressive play from Guild. They want to try and at least use a decent amount of utility to see if they can get anything. And Safe was posted up into that wine angle. Sidestep, dodges the C's, but the horn in his face has to break that. Positioning is known.
Here's Forsaken again on the lurk. Take a look at the minimap. He's just taken the B site for them, and this becomes a fake. What was an A site hit becomes a fake off the back of the lurk play.
He overextended last time, and now he's going to be facing just the firing squad.
These ideas are so good, but they just can't help but push. This is the double-edged sword you get with Forsaken and Jing sometimes, where he's just done everything he needs to in the round by securing the B site. It just needs to play to contain and stop Guild coming back in, and instead delivers himself up on a silver platter. And now Guild get to reset their defensive position.
Langsung berlima
it should
gitu,
be a much more difficult round for PRX to win.
Susah ini.
They've expended so much of their tool kill already just to try and get into the A site initially, so not a lot to work off, including losing those 2 players. And look at this. Just a jiggle peek slightly, spotting the player. That's going to be the nade to try and deny that lane positioning. And
they just walked in
as well. They have just contacted past Mind Freak.
Dapat 1 Mind Freak. Aaron, let's go.
Dangerous now, Guild. Got an advantage here in the back of the site. Haunt is going to have to get destroyed, but they have to hold this down with only 13 seconds remaining. The spike, it can be denied right through the box. And Trex knows where to spam. It's out. 8-4 is going to be the half.
It's a great recovery from Guild. The fact that they were down 7-1, 8-4 looks much more respectable with those final 3 rounds. But that's on defense side of Ascent. The side that they've picked.
Tapi yang milih map si Guild-nya, cuy.
That's a pretty brutal beginning to this series.
Yeah, and the question is how do they
itu yang jadi masalah. Karena yang milih mapnya itu si Guild. Berarti mereka kan lebih confident seharusnya ya.
Thank you very much, Bren and Sideshow. PRX, they're here and they're not here to mess around. They're here to win.
No, they're into the sights within the first few seconds, and even when they are, sometimes you've got Forsaken's disgusting lurks that may have went a little bit overboard every once in a while, but it is ridiculous how much space they were taking.
It's crazy the amount that it was catching Guild off guard in the beginning of that half, right? Towards the end, they started expecting it. They started having multiple players. Even in that last round, they're just looking at Forsaken as he flanks through B. Those are the types of things that actually really made Guild struggle to find any space to read exactly how they're playing. This round right here, PRX with a nasty nade seize combo that catches Russ, and then they go ring around the rows of the entire map. This astral divide, they rotate back towards B after a Forsaken flank through mid, and then they get another rotation back through. Mind Freak smokes off the trip, finds another pick, and the round is over. That stuff is so difficult to deal with when you're Guild and you're trying to set up phase raid combos of your own.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well comes down to, firstly, you've got the fact that Kai calling a great game, but also Mind Freak, just his positioning as well. But we've got
cara mainnya anjir
the
lebih
main reason I wanted to bring this up, though, is more so that I think going into the second half, we have to highlight Trent. I think he's someone that can have a high amount of impact. I think a lot of the time the executions from Guild are incredible, but he is that man. If he's having a bad game on this second half, it's done.
Yeah, I also, that defensive side for him, it's really difficult to place the utility in the specific spots when PRX is all over the map. I think the guy who led the team for Guild, who led the comeback at least to get 4 rounds, which is really difficult still going into the second half, is safe, and he's still going to have massive impact because the op is what's going to carry the weight against people who are pushing you every single round.
Well, it's PRX. It's all PRX right now. They're dictating the pace. Like Tom and Bala said, some of the players on the side of Guild, they have to step up as we head into the second half. Sideshow and Bren, take us away.
Tapi sayang ya, si Jason nggak bisa ini cuy ke stage.
Thank you very much. So yes,
karena
let's get
COVID
right back
ya kan.
into it. The second half of things. Guild's map pick percent currently down in terms of
mapnya padahal dipilih sama si Guild.
Great opportunity, I think.
Harusnya mereka lebih confident sih. Tapi mereka yang milih ininya kan.
They're going to be banking on winning the pistol, winning the bonus, getting back into this game quickly, I think.
Apa? Dibalikin anjir.
Comparing the styles of these two teams.
Di akhir-akhir doang mereka bisa
PRX
membaca.
were into the sights within the first 10-20 seconds looking for the plant. Guild are normally slower, patient, attempting to punish. This time, barreling in early.
They be cut off though, fragmented
dapat satu dan dapat satu.
Player into the site though, space is going to be gained as Trex needs to do something at least.
Udah ngetek anjir, 4-3-6 enggak tuh.
Spike.
Main Freak juga ke attack. Attack juga 10 HP.
This one down though. Bit of miscoordination there. Flash over the top, Safe actually gets caught by it, and the Haunts as well. A lot of positioning revealed, and players are so weak on either side, but they just don't anticipate Leo.
Oh, nice.
The bullets in the clip, the frenzy.
Nice. 4v2.
In fact, Kai is the one who gets 2 of them still. Russ, what can he do? Only the Ghost. So much pressure, but the reload in play.
Nice. Let's go.
It's a fantastic pistol round retake for PRX, and potentially a death blow for Guild. They'll be wondering whether or not to force into the next, but for a moment, let's just consider how good that was from PRX's side. They went fast with 3 players through mid to B main, and this ruins most of your post-plant positioning. You want to hold players like Leo in that Logs position and have someone to play off at lane. When you're getting pushed from CT and B main at the same time by a ton of players, you just can't hold those level of crossfires. They had to abandon Leo. And Guild are now taking a timeout. You can see on your screen that for the moment, they've bought up Bulldog, 3 Spectres.
Got the plan.
They'll be discussing things with Barbar to cook up some kind of strategy for this next round.
It's important that they don't let the opportunity slip away from them.
Honestly, I think that from PRX's point of view, you could predict pretty confidently that Guild are going to go for this force. They got the spike down, they got a couple of kills, they're taking a timeout. Yep.
When you're down this many rounds, you need to try and turn the tide of it somehow. And they open up. I mean, Guild with the faster play, it's something that typically they're no strangers to just letting the round play out a little bit, the time tick down, absorbing any potential aggression. They were fast in that round, and it was shut down pretty heavily by the PRX response.
Guild actually like to mix in a lot of different pace of
a bit of conditioning maybe for the slow and then mix in a fast play every now and then.
They do occasionally have some fast rounds.
Berat buat gue,
sumpah berat. Going for mid to late round hits into sight. And as you can see on your screen, Guild still with quite a bit to do in order to secure champions. There is a three-way battle occurring between the three MEA teams. And honestly, Guild were on the outside looking in, but their performance so far in the tournament has turned a lot of us into believers.
Looked especially good. An early play by PRX. Expecting again some fast aggression, but Guild, they take it in a different direction. It's mid. It's the name of the game for them. Trexton safe, making sure that they can hold those off angles, but Forsaken with a judge. When do you ever anticipate this? Right up close and personal. It's a pop flash play. Russ was ready and waiting, potentially in the anti-flash position, but already Forsaken getting value out of it. Haunt up close and personal with a TP behind. What? Forsaken, you are an absolute maniac.
TP-nya nggak dihilangin, cuy.
What a play. Forsaken decimating Guild and putting probably the final nail in the coffin for Ascent there.
Man.
That is a backbreaker for a round. Not only does he win the 1v2 with the judge in B main, taking down these players, but then he goes for the teleport back in behind Trex.
And I mean, obviously they're just like, well, okay. Being pressured from one
dia
front,
bisa
but you just don't
teleport
expect
balik anjir.
Baba has had a roller coaster, heart attack, central this tournament. And I'm sure this can't be good for him, watching Guild slowly slip away in this one. A thrifty round would be fantastic here to get a bit of confidence back into Guild. Forsaken, for a moment there, looked like he wanted to challenge aggressively over on Cat. Look how fast PRX are to just abandon extremities once they realize that Guild aren't doing anything fast and look towards the middle of the map. They currently have 3 players looking to fight that area. And A is only being held by, you know, the barest shred of utility.
Not too sure what the play would be here. I mean, it is just a bit of poking and prodding. Guild have realized they need that mid control. They can't just send everybody through the choke point onto A. With a trademark, I think is going to trigger some sort of play off of it.
There's a haunt from Benkai that clears out B, so they're pretty confident it's not going to be a B hit anytime soon. Mindfreak can see down mid.
Forsaken in a lot of trouble. How was he just disrespecting them here?
Jing!
But Jing's got his back. Swinging off the play still. An attempt is made by Guild, but doesn't come to fruition.
Gila, langsung di-refract anjir. Forsaken down, Jing langsung ini nge-swing. Semainnya happy banget. Tai lah.
Poking out, feeling out where PRX are going to be playing.
Aku nggak nyangka cuy, soalnya
just not quite enough.
Aku tahu mainnya PRX itu bagus ya. Maksud nggak sebagus ini tapi lebih rapi banget mainnya. Dan mereka itu selalu kehilangan 1-2 orang gitu. Pas menang itu mereka kehilangannya nggak terlalu banyak, 1-2 orang doang.
And there goes Russ immediately. First death.
I think Russ was jiggle peeking that as well. It was just being pre-aimed by Forsaken.
Russ has kind of been getting abused in these opening duels as well on Ascent. Mostly been playing Sage so far this tournament, but goes back onto his more usual initiator role and just getting bullied.
Yeah. It's hard to, I think, keep up with the kind of tempo as well that PRX like to throw at you. And look at this.
Jing dapat 2.
Jing just
tahu dia. Open.
Support is there. Doesn't matter.
Jing.
Take away the sound cues. Just make him just focus that much
flawless anjir.
He doesn't need his help.
Berhenti
he
di
doesn't need his ears. He'll just shoot you.
He'll just shoot you.
Remember, this is the player that goes for Reina on Haven. He is
GG
perfectly
boys.
happy taking raw
PRX looking strong.
Anytime you like, any day, call him up. He'll take a duel.
And the prime gaming flawless, Josh, to put them on the map.
Mereka tuh mainnya tuh loh.
Oh, that is just so clean. If anyone was wondering,
ada yang refract dan ada aja yang jaga.
A little worse than usual because he's not on the stage. He's got COVID right now. I was wondering the same thing myself. But he has not missed a beat. And there's a PRX HQ, and frankly, they're not. Oh, hello, where are we going here?
Fast play that we might have just missed out on a little bit, but it's okay.
That was a double blast pack with the showstopper from Jing. Like a shark attack play to crunch tiles.
Didn't come up with the goods though. Still Forsaken's holding close now with the judge. It's going to be the no command. They might just be walking right into this one. The flash. The discipline is there just to try and remove it, but the the bottom of hell. Now the Rare's going to be played just out in the open. Leo's dealt with. The Jing's already responding. The crossfire there. Oh, no! You've got to be kidding me.
Oh, you can't be doing that,
It's filthy. Enough of this. The Guardian, Trex. Oh my goodness. How is he getting into this?
Oh no!
3 kills. Enough shots going his way. It's down to this 1v1. But only 6 HP. Him versus Benkai to stay into the map. The repositioning, Benkai's already worked his way around. The timing, does Trex even know about this one? And the answer is no. 13-4 is a scoreline.
Whoa!
Another day in the opposite seems like for PRX.
Definitely.
Cool, calm, collected.
Cool, calm, collected. Didn't even break a sweat against the most overperforming team we've seen so far.
Oh, ditibek anjir!
On Guild's map pick.
Welcome to the playoffs, I guess.
And for PRX, just going to saying hello, saying thank you to Forsaken as he
ditibek,
Look at these map highlights. After one decent round for Guild on the defense side, they managed to string a few together at the end as well. But this was PRX putting on a masterclass and showcasing their style that they are going to be playing for the rest of the tournament. And you have to deal with them. They're not going to adjust to you.
That was one of the advantages that Guild had coming into this series, and it had been playing multiple different comps, a lot of unique compositions, changing up. They're a hard team to prep for.
Bentar coy, aku pengen tahu komentar Indonesia.
Dapetin kill dengan Odin dari arah Hell. Di-reset lagi. Lah, di-reset di tengah jalan. Tersisa Trex. Apa yang bisa dia lakukan? Stay back dulu, bos. Ya ampun. Langsung bihop. Trex masih bisa dapetin kill. Masa iya tak kabur? Digigit Prowler layar langsung biru. 6 HP. Masa iya? Langsung PRX. PTSD.
Soalnya aku nggak nonton yang Indonesia karena ada delay kan. Di Indonesia lebih lama cuy. Lebih cepat yang Inggris channelnya.
Tentu tidak akan terjadi karena PRX.
Oke. Nice.
It's just insane, absolutely insane. We're gonna go to a short break on the other side.
Anjir sama Jing ditibek tai lah.
A crucial map number 2.
Hampir aja itu tadi. Untung readnya bener itu tadi. Kalau enggak keambil mapnya sih karma banget tadi ngetibek aja. Looking strong dan mainnya perfect banget. Rapi banget. Jadi mainnya mereka tuh pasti selalu ada ini, ada coveran lagi gitu loh. Satu mati langsung di swing, double swing kebanyakan. Kalau nggak gitu crossfire, double crossfire dia. Jadi kayak tadi Jing dari ini kan catwalk, secondnya di ini kan di mid, asal. Mainnya rapi banget dan itu map pilihan Guild yang mereka confident harusnya. Habis ini mainnya di map pilihan si ini PRX. Oh, let's go. Looking so good, man. Mainnya bagus banget sumpah. Aku nggak expect kayak gitu. Lebih rapi lagi mainnya PRX. Benkai. Tapi sayang ya, Jason kena COVID cuy. Jadi mainnya di boot sendirian dia. Diisolasi. Kasian banget. Satu menit ya. Kita tunggu lah ya. Kena COVID-nya pas di Copenhagen dia, si Jason. Pas di berangkatnya nggak ada masalah dia, karena bisa berangkat kan. Harus diisolasi di sono dong. Sayang banget. Nggak bisa masuk stage jadinya Jason. Pas menang pun kayak pas turnamen selesai nggak bisa masuk stage juga kayaknya ya. Nggak bisa masuk stage juga. Kasihan banget. Nih bentar ya teman. Ambil air minum.
It's a great day to be a paper girl or a paper boy out there. I know you guys are having a lot of fun, and so are we. There was a lot of hype and anticipation. Yeah.
It's funny because the watch party that we showed, they looked like bored. They're like, yeah, this is normal.
They're too
when
used
do they
to
pull
an
out the fun stuff?
Yeah, they're too used to an APAC. But this is why I was going to ask you guys. You know, we had expectations. Have they been met? It's a very early days, but have they been met?
This map one was a stomp. It's exactly what we expected, exactly what we wanted from PRX. I think everybody wanted them to continue exactly the type of stuff that they did at Reykjavik and the type of stuff that they've been doing online. It's so fun to watch.
I think one of the most fun things about this matchup is when you talk about in-game leaders who've had success on multiple different teams, the list is very short. In fact, I think it might just be Kodamenta. The fact is, Benkai, he's made some incredible calls throughout this matchup.
Dude, this guy Jing is literally that showstopper right there. He's not even looking. He's like, where's the guy? I'm just going to guess he's behind Jen, and he gets the kill. He's so good, and he's always making a play with something from PRX or some timing that he's trying to hit. Here he's
itu tuh yang ku bilang tadi crossfire. Nah ini nih. Anjas. Kan mereka bingung apa fokus ke mid kan. Niatin mid dia, arah midnya. Pemain gue. Tapi si Jing yang dari sebelah itunya cuy. Gardennya.
Yeah, I mean Jing and Forsaken as a duo, especially as you guys can see down there versus
331
are one of the most formidable duos of this entire tournament, and they made them look like just below average players on this map.
They're the guys who are having the best group stage.
Yes.
Like Leo of all time potentially, and now it's playoffs and he's just gone because he's playing against Jing and Forsaken and PRX.
Yeah, I think even just watching back some of those clips, you just see the sheer confidence of Jing. It's like he gets seized down to 1 HP. Does he hide? No, he's like, I'm going to hold the angle. They won't expect me to just sit in the open and stare at them. But that's Jing. It's like, it feels like when they were like putting in elements of fear, they just forgot it with Jing. There's nothing there.
It's just pure confidence, isn't it? Pure confidence. Speaking of pure confidence, it's time to take a look at the Verizon high-speed moment. And it's PRX, so Tom, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, of course. The fact that Divide basically spent the whole game using the Odin is just hilarious, but of course it's going to be this man again.
Yeah, Jing is a nasty, nasty boy. I mean, he just sits behind the smoke, waits for it to fade, and then gets two of them. It's so good from PRX, and Trex almost pulls it off, but this entire round felt super high pace, and eventually Jing is so Trex too, so good.
It's just gotta be a tilter when you throw everything at them, nothing works, and then they just end up doing the craziest things. But I will say that Safe had 305 ACS on a map that he only got 4 rounds.
Yeah, I think he was flawless in opening kills as well. So it's not even like he was having a particularly bad performance.
Lord. Looking strong.
And that is actually a good sign. I mean, not the booming. They're down map 1, and they're going to Fracture next.
And it was their choice.
Pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It was their counter.
But if Safe is getting 100% opening kill success rate, that is literally something that is a win condition against PRX. It's how Zeta Division took them down at last Reykjavik, and nobody else has been able to stop them because people haven't been able to put up numbers like Safe did in that map. But the rest of the team needs to understand how to fight back. For example, they took way too long to adapt to Forsaken's flanks.
This is the thing about Guild, right? In the past, when they're down, they're out. But recently, as they qualify for this tournament and in this tournament, Tom, they have been down at times, but they're never out. They always find a way.
Yeah, I think the worry for me is that they went into Ascent with a clear game plan to try and, like, okay, this is a map we haven't played much. We'll go in and surprise them, and it just didn't really work.
And now we know what comp you're going to play.
Well, the other thing as well is you're going to know what they're going to do on Fracture. So is every other team that's played them on Fracture. They are super aggressive, and there is nothing you can do. There's just nothing.
I got nothing to say. It's true. Like, it's true. They play an unconventional comp, and they're playing Neon Rays at the same time, right? Because they're dropping an extra controller that you would use with Viper. So they're basically getting the double walls and sending it, and doing what we saw on Ascent with them going on multiple sides of the maps at all times, just triple speed.
Well, I'm glad you guys mentioned Fracture. If we kind of go deeper into what we can expect from it, this is where, Tom, you said, well, you got to pick your poison. It's either Bind or Fracture. Now, after that Ascent performance of just seeing PRX bulldoze them over, I do feel like my hopes have gone down a little bit, given that Fracture is the bulldoze map.
Yeah, this is the map where they literally just sprint at people at full speed. Like, Forsaken's Neon shouldn't be allowed. Like, I feel like his entry stats are always ridiculous, and he basically is just running at full speed at you. And he's almost like, in most of these rounds, you're going to see him as the first man in, almost like a bait Jing, and then he takes 3 players with him and just cleans up the rest.
Yeah, it's really tough to deal with, I think. And for Guild as well, the comp that they've been playing, at least that they switched to, I don't necessarily think has had good success against this style of play on Fracture. And we've seen it go up against it. We've seen Optic kind of take down a number of teams with their Neon comp. It's much different than the one we're going to see from PRX right now.
This is basically triple duelist.
It's basically triple duelist. And it's also high octane the entire time on all 4 sides of the map. So like for Guild, who we already saw had trouble placing their utility on specific spots to do anything against PRX. Now they have 4 sides to contend with.
But this is also
3 duelists.
I feel like this is where you
mainnya di
realize
Copenhagen sih. Anjir waktunya cuy.
The man that is setting pretty much every
Malam
single one of
banget.
these plays up is Bantu.
TV kemarin masih jam 9-an.
Well, we're into the Prime Gaming Agent Select here. PRX, they're 1-0 up right now going into their map pick of Fracture. And Jing has switched over to the Sage.
Oh, weird. Okay.
No raise.
Yeah, no raise on the Fracture, and I think it's just weird to pair it with the Sage here, this Neon comp. And they're going to stick with the solo Viper too on this map. I'm not a fan. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I would rather seen them just stick to the double duelist because it's PRX. So, yeah,
I will say,
Kayak chambernya masih ada ya. Dan yang megang Davai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that he seems to just run into angles, wall himself up and try and kill you. So I will say that this shouldn't be something that makes Guild think they're safe from the way he plays.
And I also said at the beginning that I wouldn't say anything bad about their comps. So I take it all back.
Yeah, Jing's just going to run at them now. You just watch, Bala. You just watch. Like I said, this is on the pick of PRX as we head into Fracture, and I'm going to hand this over to your casters, Bren and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, Sue. Let's get into it. Map number 2 in this series, PRX. And
paling susah jadi casternya cuy. Di game apapun tuh keep up dengan pace gamenya itu susah banget anjir. Kelihatannya gampang gitu ya. Dota apapun game casternya itu susah jadi caster.
I love their previous comp. But it's
paling susah di antara komentator
analisis. Because the stats he puts up on Sage are absurd. He gets over 150 ADR.
Karena casternya yang bawa hype.
I mean, he is playing a duelist, absolutely. He will swing you, he will fight you. The question is, how does it fit into their set plays? Because while I feel like Ascent proved to the world that PRX are amazing at mid-rounding, Fracture is where they normally prove that their set plays are the best in the world. I think they are the top team right now for set plays. But the Sage doesn't seem to fit in as perfectly as the Raze did in the past. No, maybe I will be completely wrong.
I understand where you're coming from, though. It's a little bit slower.
Ini ketahuan dah.
Satchels, but is that ever going to stop PRX? The answer's no. Already straight in, forcing the rendezvous on a safe just to back away. And Guild, they are not going to be in position to try and deny the plant. Have to be playing for that retake. Step 1, though, break the Sage wall.
One of the other crazy things watching PRX is that they have very elaborate post plan setups occasionally, and you can see Mindfreak dropping back here. I think so that he can play some of those.
Oh, the fight being taken place here, right on sand. No coverage from drop.
Oh, mereka pinter banget cuy. Kai Disini.
In spades right now. Safe picks up the 2 players and the defuse coming online, but
here come the snake bites.
The snake bites. Where's the utility? It's out with the defuse. Mindfreak's already killed 1.
Oh.
That's a swing and 2 kills down now, but the players are so classic in hand. Spike's still not tapped. Mindfreak, it's got all the positioning in the world, all the time in the world as well.
Let's go! Lil Jaka!
And this is what makes PRX, in my opinion, almost unbeatable on Fracture. Their defense side, they're going to run set plays on you and just crunch you on either side of the map where you have no space to back
mereka ngambil fight-nya di arah ini.
They get into the site very cleanly, normally playing the double duelist, of course, and then they've got post-plant setups that are phenomenal too. Like I said, they're winning over 80% of their post plants in APAC, which is just bonkers. And Mindfreak there going all the way back to spawn, shooting his snake bites, already got the...
kasihan banget si Jason anjir, nggak kena hype-nya stage.
Guild have to figure out early.
Lihat mainnya mereka sekarang pelan banget. Kalau di kemarin di VCT Challenger mainnya kan mereka ini langsung aja push gitu.
Now the guns, Forsaken going to be doing a bit of cleaning out onto the side. Even the spray's like, hey guys, I'm here.
And this is a very similar setup. Once more, Divide this time planting with a rendezvous that he can get out back to halls. So he's going to look to fight this a little bit more.
Angle's locked.
Oh, and look at Benkai making the wraparound silently on the road.
Only 2 more bullets in the headhunter. The swing, no tricks. He puts in enough damage. Some good work, but ultimately it looked like it's going to be coming up with 2. But pistol, why not? Fast.
Itulah, itu artinya swap weapon lebih cepat daripada reload. Ya itu tadi sih contohnya.
They're so fun to watch and they're so happy to throw in these moments.
Gila sama Benkai di knife itu tadi juga closingnya mainnya bagus banget ya.
Because even if we're talking gun round here and guilds start getting things down really close, Benkai, even if he doesn't kill the final player, has an aftershock lineup that he can go for that denies the person defusing. So they're still thinking about these post plants and they have them for the B site as well, and it looks like potentially might see something over there early. Nope, just a bit of a fake. A flash, a stun, and a dash. And PRX are going back over to halls.
I think this is the early conditioning by PRX just to ensure that they send that utility that way. If there's a player there, they note it, and they're going to try and position for it.
3 players fighting Dish early, and now there are a lot of people stacked on A.
Guild, are they going to try and fight this one early? The fast lane does block off that line of sight, including the slow one. No one can drop down with the Brim Molly in place. It really has just split up the entirety of Guild in the Viper's Pit. Well, it's already on. A nade dropped down. Leo just needs to get his gun out and support this one. Orbital strike dropped on top of it. A lot of damage being just sent flying through. Russ is in a world of hurt. Falling so low, but look at that spike plant location right up top. It is chaos right now on the battlefield. Players still alive, and PRX, they've got the numbers advantage. And here tries to move around, the pit's dropped. Bantu just playing outside of this one. Trades, is it going to be enough? No. Not enough.
Benkai udah datang lagi dari situ cuy.
Benkai back to Dish, and it stopped Safe from fighting. Safe spent most of that post plant waiting for the Dish reflank, and in the end Benkai wins the duel anyway.
Benkai dari belakang lagi dia udahan.
Like I said, in this tournament,
mereka lagi kacau balau Benkai.
That's 9 out of 12 in the half.
Dish dari belakang.
And PRX are getting free plants, and they're going to play post plant, and they're crazy good at it. The adjustment needs to be coming through, and this is only the first layer of strategy from PRX. They haven't gone B, they haven't done anything other than a default halls push.
Same utility, by the way, just being sent flying. This time there is something a bit behind it. The PRX players are just lurking, holding actually that angle, waiting for a reclear, waiting for a repeak.
And Guild know that this is different because they've got 3 players pushing out halls. So Safe knows there could be someone here.
Oh yeah, he's favoured there. Okay. Tour de force, that's an easy kill. Repositioned though, Benkai has worked his way down. This is a fast push now, all the way into halls. 3 of the players from Guild. See if they can do any sort of damage. That nade, impeccable actually, the way that landed.
Mereka balik, nice. Udah ambil 1, udah cukup. Balik mereka.
Right at the footstep there of Jing.
And PRX are being diligent, clearing this area out. On Ascent, we saw a lot of reactive plays. If they got pushed, somebody else lurked into an area of the map. But that wasn't really possible. Benkai's the closest to it, and he's only now starting to take space over a Dish. Oh, the pace!
Instantaneous, man! The slide, the dash across, and of course he gets the reset off of it. He's just handed 2 kills. Pop off the ult, the man's feeling it. Down to that 2v2.
Kena. Tangannya kelihatan. Tangannya kelihatan.
Why are you holding that angle, man? You're against Safe, he's got a tour de force.
That is absurd. And Guild end up winning the round. That one went into a very unusual direction.
And we've been seeing that every now and then, you know, a bit of an overextension, I think, from Forsaken.
Yeah.
A couple of times in a sense, you know, he hands him his life, gives an opportunity for Guild to get back into it. That time, it was grasped.
This play is amazing, and the spray transfer is gorgeous. The push after that as well. But there is another player, that Leo, who's in halls. And if Forsaken just wraps around and they kill Leo, they win the round. And so, yeah, you're right. The only thing that has been going wrong for PRX in this match so far is Forsaken overstepping himself occasionally.
Getting the stun and the flash, but nothing towards it over on the B side. Vi does have that ult though.
And this is where the conditioning starts to come through. Guild offer a tiny bit of utility early on, now have 4 players over at A. And if there's any adaptation for PRX starting to make those same lurks they were going for on Ascent, those lurks are going to find big value. Because Guild are abandoning B and just leaving it to safe zone.
Shoulders touching at the wall, it seems. 2 of the players just watching this one with the orb being grabbed and the spam. They know there's a large presence in that halls. Now you see with the wall going up. Slow up as well to try and push them across, and as the door opens up, Trex, he attempts to capitalize. Fast lane, that's a re-push through Sand. Guild, they've got the players, but can they get the kills? That's the question on the lines. It is traded.
3v3.
1-for-1, 3v3 now.
Oh, tapi udah di plan. Mereka harus cepat-cepat ngerancanain untuk retake.
PRX have gone for. This time Mindfreak not putting his poison orb on top of it. Coldemender's going to look to go for this retake. Safe is still a long way away.
Awkward angle to be holding, but the tour de force and teleports back.
Oh!
Difficult positioning, and look at this. Yep, the wrap around by Safe.
Oh, dari belakang.
Guild with another one.
Safe.
And Guild are starting to get the read on how to counter PRX's attack side here. They're grouping up, they're overstacking sites. 4 players looking to defend A, and they still breach ult retook halls from them too. They're having to play faster, they're having to try and get picks before the spike
Udah mulai ya,
instead of playing those full cepet-cepetan. And this might be the first time that PRX are forced to go on an eco. Still going for 2 Vandals, and maybe they end up forcing into this, but it doesn't look healthy, the buy from PRX.
No. Limited. Certainly limited.
Safe once more, by the way, being the key player for Guild. Locking down B, allowing his team to rotate, getting the kills on board. He's been a beast so far in this match. It just hasn't been enough. Perhaps it can be on Fracture.
He's been really making the most of it. I think some big numbers still. Devi, you are really going to re-pick that. His ADS up. Follow-up from Forsaken is just a tad too late, and still the angle was held by Guild. Safe, this reposition right now could
it's so
be caught
dangerous.
unaware. There's a player already by his side. Ships in the night, but he backs away. Safety doesn't get punished for it.
Perfect timing, just as Mindfreak dropped the poison orb. And now a 2v4.
Oh, kena timing.
PRX have been defaulting to this when they're at this player disadvantage. We saw it on Ascent a lot. It's the contact plays, just trying to see if they're given any angles. A wider swing from Mindfreak. Good damage being done. Benkai gets himself onto the side though.
Benkai has already won 2 1v4s this stage. It would be an insane time to pull off another.
Doesn't look too likely though. Still with the players. Stun has to be avoided, aftershock as well. And
susah cuy. Susah cuy. Susah dia. Dia ke kiri kelihatan dari atas, dia ke kanan kelihatan dari itu. Dari ini. Susah banget anjir posisinya dia. Posisinya Benkai. Masih punya ini soalnya. Aftershock. Mulai kebaca kah?
Pop in a Sage Wall and just knowing that a quarter of the map
langsung
is locked off and you don't have to worry about PRX's players lurking through there.
Karena udah kebaca 3 round.
It speaks mountains, honestly, doesn't it? I think Guild have been able to come back into this map and keep it even after the absolute battering that they got on Ascent on their map pick.
Absolutely. And they've been a team that's been extremely strong mentally so far in this tournament. Guild have had 3 out of 6 of the maps played so far go to overtime. Yeah. And out of those 3, Guild have won 2 of them. They have been, of course, everybody apart from Coldamento is pretty inexperienced on the big stage, and yet they've looked like veterans. They've come out, they've played their best ever Valorant, they're calm, they're winning the clutch moments, they've been great in OT. They need to draw on that deep mental reserve that they've showcased to keep themselves in this. On what most people would say is PRX's best map.
They've been approaching it with the right direction. Safe has been an absolute lifeline.
And Leo is warming up too. Not a great first map, uncharacteristically, but now over onto the breach 6 and 3, finding spots where he's been great at anchoring down areas of the map, like halls, for example.
I'm out of here.
This is the first dish push.
This is a different look for them. A flash and a stun. Once more, it's usually the beginning of most of these fast takes of all this space.
And Safe was posted up actually with his operator looking towards Dish. Got flashed, had to leave.
In their spawn, the Rolling Thunder cuts across. That's a stun being placed. Forsaken. Oh, he's already in there. Straight away, picks up the operator. You cannot be taking that angle. Dodging, juking. Nade's going to be pushing him back. 34 health. Holds down Mouse, one but not enough to claim the kill. The spike though, already planted. In fact, the Resurrect was available in the back pocket of Russ. He's going to be returning Safe back into the action. This could get dangerous now for PRX. And it's a fast play. Look at that double satchel right into the headshot. Trex and Leo to combine it all together.
What a wonderful retake from Guild. That's the Guild that we've been seeing so far in the tournament. The fast retake.
Davai ngelamun tadi.
Perfect. The coordination.
Itu tadi sumpah Davai ngelamun.
And PRX got
ngelamun bentar, dia ngelihat ke bawah bentar.
Love that round from them. Beautiful.
Really do.
Lihat tuh Davainya tadi nanti ada replaynya pasti. Davainya lihat tuh. Nah ini ya, Davainya. Ah tuh. Dia lagi ini apa? Swap ke weapon.
The movement as well with the blast packs was fantastic there from Trex.
I'm not gonna lie. Dude, looks like he is aging in real time.
Coachnya sih ini ya, apa namanya? Ekspresif banget ya. Coach. Tapi innya udah bagus. Innya udah bagus, udah working. Tinggal di ini aja.
Similar look to this round as well. And PRX.
Davai. Main freak.
Leo and Coldamenta dropping at holes just opens up B.
Nice.
He's supposed to do the impossible, trying to anchor the onslaught that was coming his way.
Gak keambil.
Missed the spike.
He's picked the back up though. It's going to be planting the.
Gak keambil. Kecepatan dia.
Mind Freak still alive, 2 snake bites in his hand. How do you deal with this?
The fast retake is a great idea, but not an option that's available to them. And look at Benkai sprinting around.
Safe was aware he was taking the fight.
I think he was actually leaving to save the operator. I don't think he was aware that Benkai was going on the flank there. But Benkai was playing up a dish and decided, hey, I'll mix it up. This round I'll go for the long lurk flank through spawn. And I think the way that PRX are playing their post plants with, Benkai over a dish and Mind Freak going for the poison orb and snake bites, you want to be fast. You want to be really quick on the retakes.
Look at that.
But you can't do anything.
Ya kan swingnya selalu ada temannya lah yang selalu udah.
They're trying to just take a slow skirmish at halls and have a fast reactive push from Dish, but they just won the fight.
Oh wow. Oh, he's walled off away. I think that's miscoordination, obviously, because the teleport was in place. We could get out of there, but finally we see that tempo. Order utility just being dumped into the back of the site. Forsaken already deep within tower. He spotted it, but he just can't quite find the head still. Pinged out, it's going to be Russ spammed through all of it, but the team just can't quite get through the choke point. That's what the Viper's pit's for. Trying to give him a bit of covering fire, but I mean, the overdrive, it's not the best weapon for the job, is it? It can't quite go through the
nice.
But it does enough.
Yang penting bisa ngasih damage aja.
From Leo has the Rolling Thunder, waits for it. Now he can hear the plant. The random spam though, not enough to claim.
Udah dijaga. Harusnya tahu sih ini. Harusnya tahu.
And he's being so cautious of it. Diligent with the peeking up and down on the rope. He knows it's going to be held by a player. And how are you favored in this one? The timing, the stun.
Oh, timing.
Beautiful.
It is good.
Well coordinated between Leo and Coldamenta. They get the punish.
I'm worried about time though, Josh.
Leo still has Rolling Thunder here. If he knows both players are over a tree.
I'm really worried about time because now you're going to start to see the snake bites, I think, coming through. Mind Freak's already laid it down, and with the orb up as well, it's just being bled off the clock once more.
Yeah. Coldamenta's going to try and stick, but there's just no hope here.
There's nothing more heartbreaking than losing rounds in that fashion. Come into it with good ideas, but if you're just not taking them rapidly enough, if you're not coming at them with that pace to try and disrupt that post.
Mulai ini Guild mulai paham juga caranya PRX main.
It really does.
Soalnya dari match apa? Dari pertukaran ini ya roundnya, win roundnya udah mulai menang 2 round, dibalikin 1 round, balikin lagi, thrifty kayak gitu.
yet PRX are still
kalau game
throwing
sebelumnya
stuns out, flashes
no
out,
clue
making
banget
sure
aja.
that nobody could possibly be contesting them. They're not baited by the Sage Wall going down in the slightest. That was a really cool idea from Guild that got nothing.
Round 2.
Same
like
utility
play,
again,
doesn't it? Yep, fast lane over the top. There's no wall to try and block them. Not this time. Trademark as well. That slow field is going to be causing a bit of mischief, I think. Honestly, an opportunity for Guild to come back into this one, especially with that pickup onto Forsaken with the res in play. Now the rolling thunder exchanged on both sides. They want to deny the plant going down in the first place. The Guild players have started to swarm this one now. They do have good positioning, but can they win out the fight? That's the question.
Spike goes down. Guild is setting up for the retake. They're in already, using the blast packs to take space.
Pushing forwards though, and now you can start to see a pressure being applied. Half on the defuse already. Trex, you should be able to get this one, surely.
No!
Aftershock misses.
Aftershocknya miss, anjir.
Being bought for the snake bite, and all the players cleaned up for PRX.
Aftershocknya miss. Itu tadi sumpah. Kalau aftershocknya nggak miss, mati. Masih dapat setengah. Bisa kasih ini snake bite.
The snake bites would have been coming through afterwards.
Komentatornya juga ngomong yang sama tuh.
Watch how quickly they take all of this space. They've got a double blast pack in from Trex.
Udah mulai trade ini sih.
And the rest of the teammates pushing in behind the space that Trex manages to gather for them. The fast retake is working for Guild.
Blow for blow, round for round, so even in this half. Again, the same play by PRX, 3 rounds in a row. It's all going behind it, and the spam through the wall, these adaptations. Cordomenta, 2 rounds in a row, he's been able to find value. He's been rewarded with a kill just for essentially unloading the Phantom.
And it's Jing taken down. The spike is not committed, however, and this might be the first time that Mindfreak goes for one of these classic lurks that we were seeing on Ascent. Devi very marginally avoids getting punished, and Forsaken is now left in a very odd spot. Going to be dueling Russ, normally good for them.
Yeah, looking up, and he's got the crosshair placement. Once more, the precision is there. Bit of a noise bait.
It's drawing a couple of players back towards B, but the spike was heading A.
It's now Trademark.
Yeah, Benkai and Mindfreak have to make a decision. Do you commit or do you go back to B? And Forsaken is letting the team know there's no one here, guys. Just come back. Stick to B. We're gonna get the plant down.
As well, pushed all the way deep.
And look how far away Coldamenta is. He's the one with the brimstone ult. He's the one that can deny this plant. And I think he's too far away.
Might just be in range, surely, with the nade. The stun to try up. Forsaken is
stunnya kena teman, anjir.
Get taken out. The orbital strike. Chunked down Benkai. He's left down to 12 HP, but he does have that aftershock once more. Needs to not miss this lineup this time around, though. Important for them. Just up to Leo and safe, retaking with the operator, never ideal. And look at the positioning as well, it's already being wrapped around by Devi. He's got this crossfire, he can hear them coming out, and that's going to be the mark found. Safe falling, down to Leo. This guy has been good for it in the past, but not quite this time around.
A beautifully played round from PRX that was much more reminiscent of their mid-rounding from Ascent. But Guild have been able to keep up with them throughout this half, and I think deserve enormous props for that. Look for a moment at where Jing is on the scoreboard. 3-11, got taken out as the first kill. And listen, this isn't a bad half from PRX, but he's not having that same impact that I was expecting from him on this map. And I think part of it is because he's not playing the Raze. He's not able to get double blast pack initiations. He's just kind of plodding into the site, not able to get big value on this attack half. On the defense side,
Bisa 75.
He'll be looking to get value out of the Sage, but hasn't had it so far. And that's been part of the reason why Guild are up to 5. No Jing.
Hasn't really been an element in this match, in this map, I should say. Fast lane over the top. That actually goes. Yeah, it goes over the top. You have to stand on the boxes to do it.
It's an interesting one as well because that's covering the trademark and making Surf think potentially someone could have been up there.
Well, that's a lot of noise being made into Halls. Trex tries to take the angle, and his teammate once more, Leo. Both of them, this duo, they just mow them down. Players being found, dropped down. It's all up to Forsaken.
Ini ketahuan sih.
But
Boom.
so much he can do, especially with the slow peak and
ketahuan cuy.
6-6 being a half. An immense amount of respect, I think, for Guild to be able to answer back after that first map.
Yeah, I think they've done an incredible job in the half to get themselves into this position, and it's safe again. 13-8, putting on the performances and keeping his team in it. It doesn't get any easier once PRX go onto their defense side. They are very aggressive, and they will put pressure on Guild. but Guild themselves have got into a great position here to try and recover the series.
I think they've proven that they can stand up to it. We're going to go to to the analyst desk. I was about to say a short break, not quite yet. The action's still waiting on the other side of it though. Analyst desk, break it down for us. What have you got?
I don't want to break. I want 4 overtimes on this map. As many overtimes as humanly possible. But guys, what a great recovery from Guild after the first map and also after the first 3 rounds of this map. I was feeling like, oh, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it didn't look good at all. It felt like PRX started trolling at the beginning, to be honest. We started with a Benkai knife in round 2. So yeah, for them to bring it back after that, it works really well because I think the ults that they started to get online, the amount of times that Trex is finding impact really did bring them back in the game.
Yeah, I think some of the adaptations, especially when it comes to the A side, with like how they were retaking rather than really battling for it in a lot of the early rounds. I still don't think their B side hold was particularly good. I think they got caught out quite a lot by just how aggressive Forsaken was actually able to be, and some of the space he was taking in some of those rounds was still absurd. But yeah, this is an example of one of the retakes and some of the impact we saw from Trex.
It's not consistent though, right? You're not being able to get this over and over and over because they're pulling him like Ascent all over the map. It's just, I think the Ascent map gave them a little breather, a little lean into the ability and possibility that this stuff is about to happen. So we need to see a little bit more consistent. Now we're moving to the attack side, and this is where we really saw Guild struggle on Ascent.
Also, Jing too, if we want to talk about consistency, because obviously he's playing a different agent, and Saisho and Brent touched on it, but Tom, a significant drop-off in terms of kills for him in this one.
Yeah, I do think that this might be more so to do with their defensive side, like potentially going to try and lock off one side of the map while they aggress on the other. It's more of a, I guess, common way of doing it around that stage, but it does remove the aspect of him almost being, I don't want to say the sidekick because he's never a sidekick, but the sidekick to Forsaken, because Forsaken will still be having to make those plays, otherwise you really do lose the value of having a Neon on the defense. So I'll be interested to see how they run it, but ultimately I actually think that Guild have a good opportunity on this attack. I think Trex is fantastic, and I think they have all the utility to set him up.
I mean, this is the best scoreline they possibly could have gotten after that start, but you said it at the beginning of this. I think Fracture is the most terrifying map to play against the defensive side of PRX.
Well, it's 6-6 at the half. Definitely wasn't the same story from the first map, but let's see if Guild can actually take this all the way and get the job done. Back to you, Saisho and Brent.
Thank you very much, Sue. Yeah, I certainly hope so. Honestly, a map 3 in this series would be a treat, I think, for our first game of the playoffs. And Guild have shown great resilience being able to make this one.
Sama siapa namanya?
PRX, though, are usually better on their defense side. Now, having said that, they usually play Jing on Raze, and they're going to push you from all over. And if you just look at the minimap and how Fracture is set up, when you start on the attack side, you barely have any space. You're so cramped. There's no corners to hide behind or cover. So if you get pushed, it is really difficult. This time, though, PRX are playing a bit more of a conservative composition. And that's where I've got questions. Are they going to play conservatively? And they're starting with a safe squeeze. What? He gets the doesn't get out.
Woo!
Right underneath the ropes. That's such a tiny
man.
But still, he will fall. Safe goes down, but the 4 players of Guild, they've got to just try and push their way through. Stunned up though. The trademark, the slow field, it's all activated. Trex, he does well. He does return back with a couple of more kills, and it's a quick re-push right into Arcade. No! The knife is out!
The knife is out! Jing and Russ
pakai knife anjir.
Jing adapts faster and pulls out the knife for a quick shank.
What is this? The Sage on Sage warfare, just fighting in the streets.
Jail Valorant.
It is brutal out here. It is brutal.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, for starters, the pace to be able to punish safe, I love. But then what's so dangerous about PRX on the defense side is you try and reactively go and take B main, and they get slowed by a trademark.
Stunned.
And Forsaken is already running back to stun them. The problem with PRX and playing against them is that they know what your reaction is going to be, and they anticipate it. They know you're going to reactively take B from them, so they go back and deal with it.
Stun over the top. A bit of Guardian spam. That's going to be 2 kills rewarded, though. A little fight took place in halls on top of it, so despite the fact that this is a thrifty round for Guild, still looking more than dangerous.
Yeah, extremely doable, and this is Guild playing at their tempo, slowing things down now that they have the player advantage.
They would love to open this up with a quick shot.
Balik, Dafai, balik.
Almost certainly turn this round properly in their favour. Still the disrespect being shown though. damage being done. He just waits it out.
Here's the pick on the other side though, Coldementa potentially getting gifted one from Mind.
Oh, udah dicek itu tadi. Dia tapi ngelihat ke kanan. Harusnya ngelihat ke kiri. Dia mau ngecek itu tadi.
And if Guild can find the timings to slow things down, they might get given picks like that.
Stun across, that's just off of the instinctual timing with the smoke being dropped. He's already pushed right through it, Benkai not wasting any time. And the Bulldog that was gifted to them earlier comes in handy indeed. A thrifty round for Guild to get themselves even once more.
And there's a knockout blow in one direction and a response instantly from Guild. They've been doing a great job on this map of controlling PRX. That opener from Safe is awesome. And they trade 2 for 1, trying to control the aggression towards Tree.
Fuck me, man, Aaron! Why do you do that? Yeah, man, yes!
You can see the difference in the reactions of both of the coaches there.
Aaron.
Alex for PRX and Barbar for Guild, and how much it means to both of these teams. What a thrifty to win.
Forsaken, no. Oh, once more the pace, the tempo. It's turned up a tad, but Leo more than ready to absorb all the aggression coming his way with the rifle. Still,
this is the problem.
Turning into the 3v3, and Divine, well, of course, more than likely to re-swing and refight this one. Quite favoured for it, is he? Made it dangerous.
Very dangerous. Guild choosing to try and defend the spawn location, defend bridge against a crunch, and even with no weapons in the hands of PRX, even with only pistols, you could see how awkward that got for the Guild players. They don't have enough cover to hide behind, they're trying to take a fight on 2 fronts, and they're getting pinched from both sides. They managed to fend off a crunch that time and take the lead 8-7. But can they do it once PRX have got the Vandals?
Not only that, Device sitting with the operator.
Go, go, go.
And this one looks a little weird because Device is going to be playing with Forsaken. I love this smoke. To allow Guild to take a little bit of space.
Oh, Device trying to get set up onto the angle there.
What? Flick!
Absolutely illegal movements that I'm just witnessing. What in the Lord's name was that?
On the other side of the map, Jing walls off Arcade, trying to get value out of this Sage. And Safe's movement through tunnel is going to end up getting stumped. Benkai hears them coming, but he's the only defender of B.
Benkai into the stun, into the flash. The utility is being dumped into that choke point. Doesn't want any of the Guild players to get a foothold.
But he never has to worry about his back here. He never has to worry about getting pinched because Jing's wall has stayed up. And now you're starting to see the value of the wall on defense. However, now it's broken. PRX with a 4v3, but Guild are all over the map.
This could get dangerous quite quickly, but it depends on this fight that's taking place at Arcade. The angle, and spotted out. Leo is good for it.
What a pick from Leo. Nice. An enormous impact kill.
Up on drop though, as soon as his trademark is broken. Could spell
30 seconds left.
A tricky scenario with the time running so low. Divide is posted up into halls currently. Trademark's broken. Is he going to be able to return and turn around here? The orb goes up to try and at least deny a bit of space, but shots being missed.
Udah di-push.
Aggression by Safe, and he's taken so much off of him.
Amazing play by Safe. Great work reacting to where Divide was going to rendezvous.
Wah, ini 3 game nih.
Has got the rolling time. I don't think it should be necessary. But you can tell Guild are thinking about all of the ways they can use to punish.
Oh, Leo with the swing is just a little bit too late.
This crossfire should be impossible to break.
It is.
But Benkai has a flash.
Surely. Oh. Gets dangerous, but it's secured.
It is a really dangerous round, but another good one from Guild. They're finding their footing in the series, getting the read of how PRX want to play. And I mean, that shot, I don't know how he's hit it. That's a flu game kind of buff in terms of that flick. But he did get punished immediately afterwards, and that's Guild. You can pop off against them, but they're mostly going to trade you out. And the real pick that wins the round, in my opinion, is Leo finding the kill on Jing at Arcade. And Jing, again, struggling to find too much of that usual value that you get from him, which is he's a heavy fragger.
Yeah.
Currently setting only 4 kills.
Jing nggak pakai haze sih.
Same impact compared to what we're used to. Timeout called. Game plan has to be cooked up. Adaptations need to be made. Alex is just going to be popping off.
Yeah.
You could feel the frustration earlier as well when we were showing the coaches side by side.
Definitely. And both of these coaches are very vocal too. You'll see sometimes, you know, the coaches will be sat back, allowing the IGL to take their moment and discuss what they think the adaptation should be, offer some input. But I mean, Barbar's been spitting in all of these timeouts.
Yes.
And seems like Alex is no different. Just providing a little bit of input, turning the ship slightly, hopefully, in a better direction.
Guild have got the confidence. They've been edging out these rounds. Coming down sometimes to just 1 or 2 players alive, but enough to hold a lead.
And PRX are going to be starting on an eco round here. Previously on their eco, they crunched towards bridge. There are 4 players for Guild defending that bridge area.
With the Tour de Force and the overdrive available, it could still be a dangerous round for Guild. They do need to be cautious of this, and you can feel it as well. They heard the Tour de Force popped off. Trex is just making sure that he jump peaks these angles. In fact, everybody, they don't want to get caught unaware just in case he could be hiding.
Nobody paying too much attention, though, to Dish. And I think for PRX, this is just expecting Guild to play slowly.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about Dish because Guild are not a fast-paced team that are going to, you know, take the risk and jump somebody into the site on their anti-eco. So PRX playing a little more riskily on their eco round. Focused on halls, looking to try and play off the back of Mindfreak's contact.
Players over towards the B side, yeah. PRX, I think, now looks like they're trying to take that gamble stack over towards A.
And it does look like it's going to be the right read.
There was an attempt there. You can see the smoke was popped off earlier into Arcade. Kaijiho is holding this. What is going to be it? Well, the contact. That's what they were waiting for. Rolling Thunder, that connects onto them. And now the overdrive. Stuns into stuns, but the kill's being found. 2 drop down. Guild going to be donating those weapons if the other one can be received.
Tapi B-nya udah dijaga pakai Tour de Force. Ah, GG anjir. Mainnya.
Forsaken's still
here, man. He's already here. Oh my goodness, 14 seconds left. The slow orb dropped down. The response is instantaneous. The kills are flooding through. Save is able to find some significant value.
Woo!
Beaming him down, man. And
let's go, man.
Once more.
What the fuck?
Back and forth. And I said it at the beginning of this round, Josh. It's not an easy one for Guild when they're up against that many ultimates.
It's heartbreak for both of these teams. For PRX, they're expecting to win round 14 and start a bit of a run. And for Guild, of course, they're expecting to win that anti-eco. What an awesome trap play and a huge round from Forsaken. But he's set up so perfectly by the rest of his squad. And the hard read from Alex and from Benkai, knowing that Guild were going to be going towards halls. You hear that there in the comms from Guild. All good. It's fine. Reset. Go next. You need that mentality.
Certainly do. State of the game could change at any given moment.
But it has crushed Guild's buy. Same, of course, with the Tour de Force.
Oh, Jing!
But it's the same kind of trap play. This time with Jing just swinging with a fault line off the back of somebody punishing his wall.
Yeah.
So he puts the wall up. If somebody breaks the wall, he's going to swing through it. That's some way of getting aggressive on Sage.
Pinged off. Oh, they know.
Round the full langsangan dia. Round the full.
Pretty significant pieces of utility.
Gua kira bakalan mati itu tadi kena wallbang.
Backs away. Rendezvous back to safety.
Forsaken is anchoring B right now, and Guild have a lot of utility with which to flush out tower. They have the nade, they've got fault line. Trex, if he wants to, can try and double blast back in with a showstopper. I wonder if Forsaken can slip his way out of this one, if it does end up being a B split.
Forsaken seems worried.
As soon as the fault line comes in, though, he runs back into tower to try and punish whoever would be scaling.
It's, there's Leo's fault line finally being used, but now, yeah, line of sight angle, watch down, players onto the site, but the crossfire, oh, it's there, 4 players.
Nice!
It was Benkai using his fault line so they could re-clear tower with Forsaken sprinting in.
Yeah, I thought that was Leo's actually. I thought he was trying to punish Leo stunning it. But you're right, both of the breaches using the same fault line to try and maintain control over tower. And even though Forsaken falls, the rest of his team is just supporting him so well. Here's that play from Jing. Nice idea. And one of the few times that you've seen something unique out of Jing's Sage, finds him a pick. That is also going to put a bit of fear in the back of Guild's head. And now the reactions seem much more genuine from the PRX headquarters. Now that they're actually having a close game.
Yeah, being truly tested. It's an evacuation across the ropes.
Evacuation across the rope. Evakuasi lari dengan rope.
Throwing down the stun, wondering if they could even be further along than they are.
Yep, now with a double satchel play into the showstopper right on top of the steps. Trex is good for it. Now the orbital strike. Benkai.
Benkai mati anjir. Kecepit dia posisinya.
The one though, before he eventually will fall to the ultimate. Side control gain. They have to try and deal with Jingno, and he was into that corner, isolated, back against the wall.
Very nice play from Russ and Safe, putting pressure on him from 2 different directions, but Mindfreak finds a pick. That's just off the back of the vulnerable.
Yeah, able to get it, only a couple of bullets that were needed, but the post-plant position of Guild right now is quite good. Coldamenta does have a Brim Molly, let's see if he has a lineup for it. It could buy him even more time, but the crossfire setup from main and back arcade, yeah, right up into the sky. Time pressure being put on here, Mindfreak might be in a bit of trouble. Stun force through. There's that molly and the spam because they can just hear the taps coming down, and great round by Guild. Pulling out the ultimates, making sure that they had complete control over that one.
Very well played. And I think their Guild's reaction to instantly take arcade control and go into B was nice, but you're seeing PRX actually being slower than I would expect to adjust their positioning. They didn't go and fight arcade early on. Benkai honestly was caught out in tower and lucky to even get a kill in that situation. And Jing just stayed at tree, kind of tucked into a weird position, a little less mobile than when he plays the Raze. PRX don't look like the same level of reactive, fast-paced, crazy set play team that they usually do when they're on Fracture. And Guild are punishing them for it. It really is classic Guild. They don't need to set up their own win conditions, they just need to break their opponents.
Mereka mau strike A lagi nih.
Tougher than the usual opponents, I think, in terms of cracking their overall game plan, but they are finding that edge. Leading by the 1 round, they've got the guns in their hands on either side. Just trying to see if they can get away with taking some space. Forsaken, he actually bounced that stun off the top of the wall, actually onto the ceiling. Lands, and he's posted himself back up onto the angle.
This is madness.
Are we going to con this? Stun into the corner! Oh my goodness, the wall goes down. Forsaken maybe thought that he could have got away with it at a slide-off angle, but Safety opens up the door at the wrong time there. Some teammates flash just connecting right into his face. Up to Mindfreak to see if he can lock this one. Off to the side. Even the aftershock pushes him back. Slow going, especially with the orb, double satchel in. Are they ready for it? The teleport, engage! Oh, back to safety. Coldamenta needs to try and capitalize. Swings back through now into sand. 2-pronged attack right through halls as well. Ready and waiting in the spot.
No!
It's a bit of a whiffage from the
No, dikit lagi itu tadi. 11.
Ice cold from Coldamenta, but how was he allowed to get away with that? Coldamenta taking a fight against Devi and it looked whiffy, but he still comes up with the goods. Guild somehow making that one work off the back of Coldamenta's flank. The shot onto Benkai is nice, but this one, I was convinced that Devi was going to be able to get away with that. What a huge round for Guild to recover. And off the beginning of it too, Leo timing his fault line for when the Viper wall dropped. Guild are really getting the read for how PRX want to play. They're learning as the game goes on.
Fast engage once more. Trademark is out in the open. I wonder if that's intentional by Trex. He actually triggered it. His team can get through the choke point. They're not going to be stuffed up. Rolling Thunder as well. That's going to be used to disrupt that as soon as the plant noise down. And PRX they want to play off the back of it. Damage. Oh, it's more than done. Locked back. The spike is dropped. Has to be a quick response from...
Woo!
Enough, man.
Headhunter anjir, bener-bener headhunter.
We've seen a few of them in this game so far. Both of the teams sometimes enjoy throwing him in there. And that one was quick.
Just a whiplash you're getting off these rounds. Sometimes it just opens up and it's over in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's off the back of the Breach ultimate. You've got Benkai anchoring tower. And as soon as the B hit comes through, he throws it out. It buys time for Forsaken, for Devi to run through the smoke. And they both hit their shots. Guild, despite winning 2 rounds in a row, after 1 loss, they are straight back onto an eco.
Just shows how close these rounds have been. Not many chances to carry the weaponry forwards, even when they're winning these rounds. The economy is just taking a beating over and over again.
And a reminder that for Guild, the only map they've won convincingly so far at this tournament was Fracture. They won 13-6. Every other map has been, you know, 2 rounds in it, super close. And they're getting pushed to the limit, but they're doing a great job of recovering after
Forsaken udah di situ cuy.
It looks destined for OT.
It really does.
It's been so back and forth.
There's been no breaks in it.
And this is the first breather that we've really had. Trex looking to take a fight here with his Sheriff, perhaps onto Benkai. Trex hasn't really gone for any kind of reactive dish pushes so far. And PRX have almost forgotten about that area of the map. They're not too threatened by it. Maybe Guild can punish them for that lax nature.
All the space being gained though. Jing has pushed deep, breaks up that trademark, and now they've got to know where some of the positioning is, especially with Forsaken clearing halls. The top of the map, that's the direction that PRX are going to have their eyes on. Especially drop. That's been compromised for quite some time now.
Unfortunately, Forsaken has pushed all the way out, and he is going to have halls control. These 5 players flooding out through drop.
Oh, the reactive fight to try and disrupt it. Still Trex is already there.
10 seconds.
Satchel across. Where is the spike? How do they get onto this one? The crossfire. Oh, it's found. Boombot will at least guide Trex towards one of the targets, but they don't have enough time.
No plan, no time. Nice idea from Guild, and certainly found some level of an opportunity, throwing a new strat, a different idea into the round. But just not quite enough with the weaponry they had at the time available. The clock has been a large enemy for Guild. Their game against Crew, they lost multiple rounds in that kind of same way.
They did.
And it feels like PRX are starting to take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit and just ask the question of Guild, can Guild win these rounds on their own? If we stop making pushes and giving them opportunities, can Guild just pull off a big execute?
Back and forward cuy gamenya.
As the Guild plays down,
Tukar-tukaran ini.
absorb the aggression, see if they can force
Tukar-tukaran round
out of their enemies.
Forsaken has just popped the overdrive instantly.
Oh, he's so deep. But it's crossfire. The dash, the slide. Mind Freak's there to follow up, but that's classic Guild for you. The trade is instantaneous, and the resurrect in play means that they're right back to full health. 5 players now swarming onto the A site, and not a PRX defender in sight to try and disrupt it.
I'm so confused by that from Forsaken and Mind Freak, though. There wasn't information on the rest of the map. For all Forsaken knows, he might be running into all 5 players there. I suppose he knows Russ isn't there because there was a wall up towards Arcade, but that seemed over-aggressive to me after the slower and more retakey rounds have been working. A 3v5 retake, I'm not sure how they're going to be able to pull this one off. Guild in a great position to get up to map point.
Well, he's been pushed into this one, but the positioning is not good for PRX. That rolling thunder, it collides.
Oh, nice.
Target. Safe will fall. The time is a bit of an enemy right now for PRX. The longer they take trying to take this space and break their way into halls, the less they're going to have to work with. Still, the molly, it disrupts it, it cuts it across. No players can work their way through into the site.
Nggak bisa, nggak ada waktu. Saving.
Disciplined at the end of the day. PRX is going to be backing away and keeping these rifles.
To some degree, a bit of a win in terms of the pressure they applied on the retake attempt. Jing, with a resurrect, allows them to keep their economy really strong, although there is only 1 more round left. And they did force out a breach ult from Leo. Maybe that's a win in their books, but Guild will be feeling very happy.
1 more round to deny that OT. Take this map, bring it to the 3rd and final map.
Half of Guild's maps so far in Copenhagen have gone to overtime. Can they stop this one going the same way?
To be fair, Josh, typically favoured when it gets to OT.
That's true.
Winning most of them. Freak going to be dropping down this Viper's pit, so that's going to be denying some space over towards Arcade. Minute 30 on the clock, and this contact push. 3 players ready and waiting for PRX. They break up this trademark early on.
And Guild started the round with 4 players over at Bridge, anticipating some kind of crunch there, and slowly working their way up towards Dish. So far in this round, it's just an exchange of trademarks, an informational war.
Ada Viper's pit di situ.
Could be taking that space, but this Viper's pit is such a nuisance for them to deal with.
Mereka mau ke dis kayaknya.
Guild have to remember about time management. There's 50 seconds left right now, and they're starting to move their way towards A. But this is also coinciding with Devi and Forsaken pushing out of halls. If they catch Safe, this would be devastating.
It's looking a bit worrying, maybe for Guild, but
nice, dapat satu.
And
drops
now
down, stunned into the corner.
They get back in time to help Jing.
It's an instant pivot though. They're going to start to move into their own spawn. They're not even going to be going towards the A site.
What a call, what an audible from Coldamenta.
How does he manage this one? Let's see if they can even manage to get this spike down to try and close it out. Benkai, operator in his hand. He's not the usual weapon for the job, and he's removed instantaneously now. Spike starting to get planted. Russ got enough time to spare, nothing to disrupt it, but they've lost tower control. Mindfreak still up here. He needs the help of the rest of his team. All 3 members of them just colliding their way now right through the choke point.
They've flipped the map completely. Mindfreak still has his wall to cut these players off.
Oh my goodness.
And the Sages go 1 for 1.
The return of fire, they get it, but still the Brim Molly, it disrupts them still. Fault line being held by Leo off the tap. Gonna be using it at the choke point just to try and stop them from getting through, but now Jing is gonna start to stick this one, pushing forward, trying to hold it. They need to spam it, they need to get through.
Woo! Let's go!
It's not enough. It's held at the end of the day. Jing, he brings it to OT for his team.
Pros didn't fake.
To be this way. Another one of Guild's maps goes to overtime. Barbar's gonna need to go and see a doctor.
Yeah,
I mean,
overtime.
He needs some cardiac treatment after all of these. But Guild have won 2 out of 3 of their OT maps so far. That time though, in the final round, I really like the audible that Coldamenta called to run towards B, but they got punished for playing everybody off-site on the post plant. Mindfreak had not yet invested his Viper Wall, and as soon as that goes down, there's nobody who can contest and get information on whether or not Jing is sticking. As we head into the first round of OT, both chambers are picking up the glass cannon operator. And for PRX, that means Devi's doing it on the attack side.
A fight early on, looking like they want to try and face each other maybe into halls, and big dump of utility right over towards the B side. Usually there's a threat behind it, and Forsaken, well, he's going to be trying to follow up. The spam tries to predict where it might be, and while all
dapat satu masih kan.
Kidding, flicks to the side. Should never be favored there. Russ is gone.
It's a suicide fake from PRX, and yet they still find a pick out of Forsaken. It was all designed to bait the push in halls, and they did. They baited Safe, they punished him, and now they have the plant.
They haven't actually afforded themselves to give up any positioning of this one. Jing, he plays up onto drop as well. He walled himself up now, so they've got this good setup. And
Mindfreak!
Straight lurking. That's what Benko was doing early on all the time.
Mindfreak, he has the post plant positions from there.
Oh, let's go!
Get outplayed in the first round of OT.
Seru banget gamenya, sumpah dah back and forward terus anjir. Jadi intensnya tuh nggak hilang-hilang.
It's just more than you can ask the guy to do. He's playing from his room with COVID.
Yeah. Reminder.
Ini masih bisa dapat kill loh. Dia udah ke-tag sampai 20-an tadi.
Not optimal in terms of the situation that he's living through right now. He's not there with the rest of his team up on the stage, but yeah, Josh, I mean, 25 and 23. Highest devs on his team, but he's putting up the goods time and time again, and PRX not wasting any time. In fact, Jing is even committing his own wall. It blocks off his team from being able to follow up right behind him. Just trying to take it, but still they're just squeezing halls.
It's impossible for Safe, and Benkai is still here to stop the reactive push.
Face in tunnel, surely. No, the players now swarming, but they're not ready for him up in tower. Benkai, he takes out Trex. It is going to get traded.
But look at the pathing here, under through tunnel.
Oh!
That's a great pick. That might be what Guild need, but they will not expect these players at Arcade so fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's an instantaneous adaptation. On either side, they're going to try and double swing it. They do find themselves advantage, but they don't expect Forsaken. Delay play, and now it's down to the 1v1. This is going to be close out. PRX is going to be taking this series. Devi with the operator. Russ. So much pressure on him. He swings.
Whoa, let's go!
Devi wins it out. And at the end of this defuse, that is going to be the series. Under the belt of PRX, they make their way for the first time in Masters into this upper bracket. Normally they're the team that goes out in groups or goes out into that lower bracket. This time, they are making significant strides.
Wajar GG mainnya.
It was a hard-fought victory on Fracture, it really was, and full credit to Guild for waking up. But PRX looked like a different beast. This is the team that went 4th place in Masters Reykjavik, and to me, they look better this time around. And I think part of that, Brent, is that they've made their way through the upper bracket this time. They had to get down into the lowers and scrap and fight and go on a run. And this time, they're not the underdogs. They could reasonably be described as the favorites, and they still gave us all of this flair. You still got the classic knife kills. 3 of them in the game from what I can remember.
Such
2 from... Yeah. And then Jing just dropping it down on Ascent as well.
I mean,
getting low with it.
This more knife kills being played. I think respect to Guild for their ability to be able to come back from Ascent. It was such a one-sided affair. It made it so close. Easily winnable fractures for them to battle back. But now they're gonna have to
nice
do
play.
the exact same approach. Battling back in the lower bracket as they are knocked down in our playoffs. Feel the energy.
And the battle between the fast-paced team and the controlled team goes the way of PaperX this time around. And how are people going to stop them? That's the question, because PaperX are not going to adjust their style too much. And Guild are one of the teams with the most discipline in the tournament.
Absolutely.
One of the slowest paced teams that we have. That was one of the problems with PaperX previously at Iceland. They ran into DRX, who liked to play slow and disciplined. Ran into Zeta, who liked to play the same way. But this time, the bull gored the matador. They ran him down in the streets on Ascent. And even though it was a closer battle, eventually the wild animal wins and PaperX come out on top, leaving a space there for Forsaken as well.
I love to see it. I love it. Yeah, we can fix that in post. We'll get him in there. Nice little full shot picture. What a series we have just witnessed here. I mean, honestly, an amazing one to kick things off for our opening match of the playoffs of Copenhagen. Yeah, just beautiful stuff from PaperX.
Things are only going to get more
a good
crazy
game, man.
I hope so. The playoffs are going to have unexpected results, crazy runs,
Habis ini apa?
and extra teams
Fanatic
like
ya,
PaperX that we
PRX.
haven't got a chance
Wah,
to
fanatic
see.
sih kalau aku.
It's got so many teams we don't know
Kita
that much
nonton itu
about.
kah?
We haven't seen them play
Wah,
in a
anjir,
while.
jam 12
That's what the
anjir.
playoffs is about, you know. It's all
Anjir.
about just seeing the best of the best compete against each other, especially at these Masters events. And yeah, Guild still, I think signs of life towards the end does bode well for them as they head deeper into the tournament, at least starting now from the lower bracket.
But all of their opponents are going to be difficult. It doesn't matter who gets knocked down into that lower bracket. We're talking the cream of the crop here at Copenhagen. I don't think we've ever had an event that's been this competitive, this high level. The skill in Valorant keeps going upwards and upwards.
Only gets better every single time.
Even the repeat performers continue to improve and continue to get better as well. You've seen bigger and better performances than ever before, and Guild are not the only team playing their best Valorant.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to a short break on the other side of things. Our analysts, let's breaking it all down and setting up our second match of the day. So do not go anywhere. You know you don't want to miss it.
Red Bull Campus Clutch is back. Assemble your team and lead it to the world final. Learn more on redbullcampusclutch.com.
Cepetan belanja di Gema.
Astaga. Back. Mau tidur deh. Yang penting kita udah nonton Indonesia kita ya kan. Thank you yang udah nonton teman-teman. Ya udah mampir tadi ya. Thank you banget. Ya sampai sini dulu ya kan. Aku harus istirahat juga. As always, do your best. See you next stream. Bye bye.